Thank you very much. It's great to be with you guys, all good friends, all together in Istanbul. One of the major issues that we have, of course, tourism again. I welcome you again and all our guests for being here. Let me briefly introduce our panelists, which they were introduced before. Effie from ICCA, years experience in tourism sector and MICE specifically. Dimitris same goes for you too. Years again in the sector. Paola again from Italy, and Jacqueline all the way from Brazil. Welcome again. In 1950, there were about 25 million travelers in the world. Today, only in Istanbul there are 20 million last year visitors. So this tells us where we were as a world and where we are now. Now, when you take into consideration of the population of the world being 2.5 billion at the time, 25 million, you're talking about 1%. But the same number goes up to 1.5 billion travelers today, all over the world, business travelers and all travelers. And the world population, when you look at it, 9 to 10 billion people, million tens. So the size, growing size of the events and tourism growing much faster than we were expecting. So when we look at the numbers I was whizzing through yesterday, the market size last year, 2024, of the whole sector is 870, close to 900 billion US dollars, and is projected to be 1.5 trillion dollars by 2030, which is about 5 years from now, not far away. And it's still the largest market in Europe. So when we consider all these facts together, close to $12 trillion value of all traveler business and leisure all together in the world, tourism is a driving source. There's no question about it. But within the tourism, there's also MICE, of course, which is we are very much involved with. And within that, Mediterranean coast, or this area specifically where we live in, takes a very big pie and big attention of ours. So with that brief information, I'd like to leave the floor to our panelists. I'd like to start with you, Effie, first. The first question is going to be very general in that sense. How would you describe the current state of the Mediterranean meeting industry in terms of recovery, especially after 2020 COVID and growth, and what are the key challenges laying on the way for us to overcome?
Thank you very much for having me. Of course, it's a pleasure to be here. I'm the director for Europe, and it's 56 countries, but of course, as you said, the Mediterranean region have some specifics that position like it's a classical group of destinations that have a value, that have stayed and is very resilient in the leisure market and also in the MICE market. So right now, I mean, the whole Europe is growing a lot. I mean, we're very, in the association market, we represent the 56% of the global market is in Europe, and the big percentage of this is in the Mediterranean region. So I think that we are in a very good point, and after COVID, of course, it's full recovery on exhibitions, on meetings, on corporate events, and it's growing a lot. Also for Turkey, it's a very, I mean, the location that you have is very competitive because, I mean, the Asia market is also a growing and booming market right now after Europe. So what we see, what is coming in our industry, we're very optimistic and very positive about it, no? So there is growth. The main challenges are, again, because of the growth of the leisure market, as you said, the costs are also booming.
Right.
So the meetings industry is a good tool in order to break seasonality, as you know, so to move the congresses and your events away from the high season for the destination. Also, another challenge is, of course, the very fragile geopolitical situation that we have in Europe. And for us Europeans, we know that safety is, I mean, it's not an issue, but in the perception of some international travelers, sometimes it is. So we need safety and we need a stable geopolitical environment in order to grow. And another issue that I see that it's everywhere, it's that we are lacking people. We are lacking talented, skilled people. In order to serve all these new travelers and new meetings and new events, we need to grow also the talent that we are building. So we need to get more people to join the industry and be part of it.
Well, thank you. Well, MICE it's an essence that when you take the impact calculator and calculate it, you'll see a much more impact on the economy as opposed to the regular tourism. People spend much more, and the effect is much higher because intellectual capacity goes very drastically high. So it's very important in that sense. But drawing the attention of Congress holders or associations, especially for a destination like Thessaloniki, I really wonder what the obstacles on your way, because I live in Istanbul and I'm the general manager of the Convention Bureau of Istanbul. And Istanbul, you don't need much things to do to promote the city because city also already sells itself. But when you take another city from the Anatolian side of Turkey, it becomes very challenging to draw the attention of the associations to have their annual meetings there. Would that be the same story, Athens and Thessaloniki, in that sense for you?
That's the question of $1 million, right? So first of all, I would like to thank you for your kind invitation. It's always a pleasure to be in the beautiful Istanbul. Thank you very much, of course, among friends.
A pleasure.
Well, the truth is that we are having two large cities in Greece. It's Athens and Thessaloniki with a very different product. They're not having a lot of similarities. They're having different characteristics. And we couldn't say that we don't compete each other, but more we complement each other. And that helped us also develop and design some mutual actions in order to promote our destination more effectively. Athens is a large city, bustling, very Mediterranean, internationally recognized. On the other hand, Thessaloniki offers a very different product. It's a human-scale city, 1.2 million inhabitants, easy to navigate. It's definitely compact. It's totally walkable. It has other qualities. So we cannot compare it with Athens. Of course, it's a less known destination, but actually we see that there is a trend towards second destination, and we benefit from it very much. Thessaloniki has a huge history, very rich history of 23 centuries, and it beautifully sits by the sea. We have to say that we're having a huge academic community of 150,000 members and 5 major universities. This is a huge plus because it gives freshness to the meetings and make them more alive, I would say, and dynamic. And of course, for the delegates, it worked perfectly because you don't have to go far to go for more. Thessaloniki is surrounded by beautiful landscapes that can satisfy even the most demanding visitor. I would say like Chalkidiki and Olympus Riviera. The setting and the location of these destinations can turn a special event or a holiday package into something truly memorable. And I think if I can add something to what Effie said before, that I see also, apart from the challenges that they are here for our region in total, I see also that there is huge potential, and I think that I see positive development in the Mediterranean through what is happening in the ICCA Mediterranean chapter. And I think that we are ready now, and we're more mature, and we are there is more trust between us and better communication, and we are now ready to develop joint strategies to promote the region as a whole, and not just our destinations separately as countries and cities.
Thank you very much, and you're right about that. Now I'll leave the floor for Paola. Paola, from Italy, Rome. You know, Rome is one of the destinations that I pray when we go for an RFP or an association bidding. I go like, I hope it's not Vienna or Rome, please God. Such a great place for Congress, of course. And you've been doing a great job and closely watching it from the private sector, of course, perspective. I'd like to hear your opinions, please.
Yes.
And one more thing. Last night at the dinner, what you said was very important. I'd like to share that. MICE is not only tourism, it is more than tourism. It's an investment, it's an industry, manufacturing, whatever you name, please.
Thank you, Cemil, for inviting me. I'm very happy to be here with all of you, and I'm really impressed of how many energies we have all here around. I represent a Truimph group, and I'm coming from Rome. So Rome, Istanbul, as you said, Istanbul, you don't need to talk about Istanbul because we all know what Istanbul is, and same is for Rome. Well, I don't think so. We are Mediterranean. We have Mediterranean roots. We should work together because tourism is, of course, a very important industry, but within tourism and far away from tourism, we organize events, corporate events, incentives, luxury events, congress events, associations. Organizing events is something more than only tourism. And even Rome, you know, we can say, you don't need to talk about Rome because we have the Colosseum, we have so many tourists. No, because our work is to positioning the city, the territory, the Mediterranean area as an attractive area for investment, for attracting talent. To organize events, it means giving a great impact in our territory as far as culture, as far as we are, you know, in the Mediterranean, we are very inclusive. We all know. We have historical beauties, natural beauties. We have talented people, resilient people, as Effie said. We faced the COVID and we found a way to go over and to learn. I think that even our world, so MICE and event industry, it means to give a city, to give our communities something more in terms of value, because our people staying in our cities, they spend much more than a tourist. It's a high quality presence. And of course, all the stakeholders involved. Just if I organize an event of automotive, this is important for the industry of automotive. So we are all linked. We are not only tourism. That's what Cemil is saying, because yesterday night we had a very nice talk about it. We are part of a development economical area. So it's, I think, much more than this. And we should work all together because we have really some issues and some key pillars in our region that can make the difference, and we are growing. Don't say it, but we are growing much more than Central Europe, Northern Europe. They were far away in front of us. Now, slowly, we are working hard and we are overcoming all these colleagues.
Thank you. Thank you for the inside information. Now the floor is at Jacqueline Gil from 10,000 miles or kilometers away from. It's one of the challenging tasks for me when I started this job, that what's next to you, it's easy. Europe is easy to reach and get in touch and some way trick their mind into having their congresses in Istanbul. But what's challenging is, can you reach all the way to South America or Australia, New Zealand, which is very challenging and very keen in that sense that you just want to have those kind of relations, because automatically when somebody flies from Brazil to Istanbul, they're going to spend at least 3 nights because of the long way. So it's a great opportunity for us to show the city and the historical parts of the city for the visitors. What is the perspective from Brazil? Please.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. First of all, Cemil, thank you so much for you and your team for inviting me, and not just inviting me, for bringing this conversation to outside of Europe. I think this is a point you make that should be welcomed into an industry that needs to internationalize more and more to be able to expand its business. And therefore, I'm very happy to be here and bring some insights from South America. You do mention South America, but before I get there, let me just start by breaking it up a little bit. So when we talk about South America, it's a continent in itself, right? And I will just bring up some numbers from the 3 major economies. So number 3 would be Colombia. So Colombia is a market of $418 billion GDP, and they spend internationally about $5 billion each year. Then second would be Argentina. That's a market of 630 billion US in terms of GDP, and they spend internationally about 10 billion US each year in international travel. And then you have Brazil, which is of course the largest, and it's an economy of 2.2 trillion US dollars. So we are talking about 4 to 5 times more than the second or the third economy in the region. So we are really talking about a powerhouse in itself in economic terms, a sophisticated economy, although we talk little about it, but it is an economy that exports airplanes and technology of all kinds. And therefore, we know MICE is connected to economic sectors and to economic development, right?
And also footballers, right? You export them too.
Yeah, football is a good point. Let's not talk about it today. It's not doing that great at the moment. But of course, it is an important business sector as well.
Ambassadors.
Sports-related activities are huge. You're absolutely right. Anyway, and then when we talk about South America, it's also interesting to say the other countries, but Brazil, are normally economies of one city. Like if you look at Colombia, Bogota is the hub. If you look at Argentina, Buenos Aires is the hub. Same thing for Chile with Santiago. And that's completely different to Brazil. We talk about a country where 14 cities have direct flights with Europe. Just the Portuguese airlines itself connect 14 cities to Lisbon. Then we talk about 42 cities that go into the ICCA ranking as hosting international events and helping out Brazil go back to its place in the ranking. We just made it the top 15 after many years of down the bottom line. Anyway, let's not talk about that. But back in the top 15, that means it is a diversified and sophisticated economy. So when we look at it from the outside, like Europe, like Istanbul, we gotta break it in parts. We got to understand where to go. We cannot go everywhere. But I would like to bring some insights for you in terms of how could we be looking at, as you mentioned, Istanbul as a partner and as business partners, and how can we collaborate and bring more business to this region. I would like to suggest consideration towards the incentive travel. First of all, because conventions and events it's a different business altogether, right? And then South America and Brazil itself is yet very domestic oriented. So if we look at the numbers of international mice, it's less interesting than we would imagine for an economy that has 2.2 trillion in its GDP. However, incentive travel is something that is on the rise, booming, and require a lot less effort for you to be able to bring that market into your businesses, because just 5 to 6 companies, not more than that, have the market in their hands. And we are talking about a market that's been growing unstoppably. 11% growth from last year to the numbers this year already. And we are talking about travels that bring up from $5,000 to $8,000 per person expenditure.
Wow.
That's big business.
That's a good number.
Exactly. And just to finish, it has become, incentive travel, the preferred option for companies with 5,000 employees plus, which is pretty average in Brazil. It's not something really outside of the ordinary, it's pretty average. And therefore, the market is there to be explored. So I would invite you, and I would invite European partners to look at incentive travels as a means to connect more Europe to Brazil, especially the Mediterranean area, where are the preferred destinations, because they just bring together culture and sun and beach. That's what Brazilians would be looking at first option. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, that's very important, because if somebody comes from Brazil, they're not only changing the time zone, but they're also changing the seasons. So that makes a lot of difference. Yeah, your dead season would be our hot season, and vice versa. And remember, it takes only one awake person to wake 1,000 sleeping people. So you be one, I'll be one.
Absolutely.
We'll try to get our people, in touch. Again, well, Effie, my second round questions are from the perspective of ICCA. How do you view the overall state of meeting industry across Europe? I look at the numbers in terms of Turkey, visitor numbers. We're in the 4th in the world, which is very good. But when it comes to income, the number goes from 4 to 7, whereas the others come. Apparently, there's an efficiency problem there. But in Europe, how do you see that overall meeting industry? And do you have further development and strength collaboration between CVBs and you guys? Because I know because of the leads that we get from you, we'll go and bid for the association meetings, and it helps us a lot. Know-how and all those things.
Yes. So in Europe, what I see right now, what is very important that is happening, we are a membership-based organization, which means that we have more than 1,000 members worldwide, and 500 are in Europe. In Turkey, we have around 15 members companies. It is very important, what we see as a trend, to have an international profile, not only as a destination, but also as the companies that are members of this ecosystem. After COVID and through the whole fragile geopolitical situation, we see that regionality is very important. So it's not only okay to be prosperous, to have profit in your own country, but you need to build your network away from your own country, not only in your city, but in the city which is the neighboring city, in your country, with Greece. So collaboration is key. And I see that there are many members that are becoming members of ICCA, because what they need is this. They need to talk. Right now in this panel, we have 3 leaders in the Mediterranean region. We have Turkey, Greece, and Italy. So if you make a collaboration, like I remember some years ago, it was a Vienna-Barcelona Convention Bureau agreement. So if you make any agreement between these 3 countries, this creates a very important business value for your destination. So I think that it's very important to become more international. If you have a local company, to have local, international impact, to see what is happening. And then in our segment, it's also very important. I mean, in Europe, we have more pressure in the terms of sustainability and impact, because it's about what you live in the destination. What is your legacy? So your companies, your destinations, our members need to think together what we are, because over-tourism is everywhere. So we need to think together how we can reply to this challenge and how we create positive impact for our destinations through our professors, through our programs of legacy with collaboration. So these three aspects are things that are key in Europe and the Mediterranean region. Yeah, collaboration. At ICCA, what we do more, I mean, is that we're building these networks, the chapters, we have 6 chapters. The Mediterranean chapter is one of them. But we see more and more interest from international players to be part of the chapters and go to the chapter meetings. So regionality, not only international, but region, to go to the France Benelux chapter, to go to the Iberian. What is happening in the Iberian market, in Portugal and in Spain? It's very important. You will not find this information in GPT. It's only your colleagues from another country that you will have a drink together and they will give you some insight on what is happening and how the market is changing. So network and learning from your peers. This is the reality.
That's the way you do it, yeah? Well, we know Thessaloniki has done a great job in that, and you as a professional on both sides representing CVB and also ICCA in Thessaloniki, I would like to hear about your opinion about the cooperation of the denominators in the sector, because I know you've done a great job on that.
In a regional level, you mean?
In the regional level, yes.
Look, I think right now we are, regarding the Mediterranean medics industry, I think we are in a very good moment. We are in a very dynamic phase. After COVID, after the pandemic, we not only have recovered, but we are also transforming. The demand is clearly growing for all the destinations. Big events and conferences are coming back, are returning strongly, and I think we, the Mediterranean region, stand out because it offers a very unique combination of high-quality meeting facilities, high professionalism, and this vibrant cultural lifestyle, and of course, great hospitality, which is actually one word that has particular, I would say, importance and significance in our area. Of course, there are multiple challenges, as Effie said, geopolitical challenges, lack of young professionals in the area. We do not have a lot of association, and that limits our local influence in order to attract more association meetings in our destinations. And of course, there is strong competition from other European regions. The competition is tough, it's really intense. Each one of us offering a different product and different approach. But I think we have all the qualities to move forward. And as I said before, I think now it's the time we are having the maturity to move forward with joint actions. Turkey, Greece, Italy, and maybe other European destinations. We could proceed, move forward. And we have to present this area, this region, Mediterranean as a whole, and not just our destinations separately. And we have to position, by doing that, our collective voice will be louder, will be stronger, and we will position this area as a top premium, MICE resilient destination worldwide. So in summary, I think we're recovering well. Business is growing, but the future lies in collaboration. We have to move from individual competition to regional development and promotion and shared success, of course.
Yeah. And I think we should build sister cities. I don't know, maybe with Thessaloniki. Paolo, again, the question goes for you. Italy and its cities have been climbing steadily in ICCA rankings. What is, in your view, what actions or strategies have set Italy apart from the other countries?
you know, in Italy there are several cities, not only Rome. We have Rome, Florence, Venice, Milano, Siena. And Italians, originally and historically, we are all very much in love and very much linked to our territory. So Pisa against Florence, Milan against Rome. This was not the right way. So what we have done, and we have started not a long time ago, just during the very too hard COVID years, we started to do network. So we started to talk together, because if we can do better, we can do only if we are all together, if we build up a network. For sure, Italy Convention Bureau, which for you is Turkey one, and the convention bureaus, the local convention bureau, like Istanbul Convention Bureaus, are key, because for us, they started to build up tables of people starting to talk together and to take experiences and positive cases all together. And what we have done, we have invested a lot on our academic key opinion leaders, on our industrial key opinion leaders, on our cultural key opinion leaders. We have thought they are ambassadors of Italy, like you have your ambassadors for Turkey. So we have Mediterranean ambassadors. You know what they mean? They have a direct impact on our event industry, but they don't know. Because of course, if I have a professor, of course, he's a professor, he's a surgeon or a neurologist, and of course, he's thinking about his own job. But if he is part of an association, of a society, of a national or international society, he can be part of our table, bringing business, doing bid, doing candidacies, to have more events in the area. And this is a virtual, a very virtual, not virtual, how can I say, very positive histories that we have. And of course, all of us in the Mediterranean area, with Turkey, with Greece, now we are sharing these people that can bring to all of us, because of course a Congress can, a European Congress can arrive in Rome, and then in Istanbul, and then in Athens. So we should be, as much as we work as a network, as much as we have possibilities to work more, earn more, have more, as I said before, more investments, more people, and our job and our event industry can really be very impactful in our countries.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah.
Impact is the word. Yep. I totally agree with that. I think we got only 2 minutes left with this. Jacqueline, I'm going to leave the floor for you for the last question, which is, as a consultant with an expertise in Brazil and broader South American market, what's your perspective solely on Mediterranean coast? I mean, we share the same natural beauties, but what is the perspective, the look from the other side of the world towards us?
That's a very good point you make. I was going to say, but I changed my mind, because you started with a very important information that I like very much, and I'll go back to that. You did start, Cemil, by saying in 1950 there were 25 million people traveling in the world, and we are now reaching 1.5 billion this year. We all know MICE and traveling is connected with businesses. If we look ahead, and if we look at 2050, we are looking at 4.7 billion people traveling around the world.
No, everybody.
Wow.
That's the projections we have. And there is a point here right in the center of our sector, of our industry worldwide, which is global warming. I am flying to Istanbul direct from New York Climate Week, And the capital, the world capital, was sitting in New York discussing climate. And we are going to host in less than 2 months in Brazil, COP30, that has at its core the mandate to discuss how the world economies are getting neutralized with their carbon emissions. What do I want to say by this? I want to say that tourism cannot keep growing without decarbonizing. We need to be in the effort as part of who we are in the world. And by saying this, I would like to say that Mediterranean area, as much as we, are getting hotter. The regions are getting hotter, and for a region that is getting hotter, we got to do planning accordingly. Yeah. Travelers from northern areas have already said they prefer not to travel to hot places. That is both a challenge, but also an opportunity for ourselves, because we are hot together, so we don't mind traveling and, enjoying our weathers. But that's also to say we gotta, that's the task, and tourism has become a mandatory sector to decarbonize as well, and we are gonna discuss that in Brazil, and I'm very much engaged in that conversation, so I couldn't not bring this climate issue to the point that we will need to be looking at our sector engaging more and more with carbon sinks. We need to neutralize. How do we do it? Look at the carbon sinks. Who are the carbon sinks? Look at us. So, connecting possibilities that decarbonize the sector is also going to make a huge difference from now on, especially for the travel connected with businesses, because that's going to be their mandatory decision. Travel has to be connected with the ESG's propositions, strategies, and most importantly, decarbonization. How do we do it? Let's look at the places that do have the carbon credits, do look after the carbon sinks, and I believe that's a strong pitch for collaboration now on looking at our 4.7 billion tourists in 25 years' time.
Cool.
Thank you.
Beautifully wrapped up. Thank you. Thank you very much again for coming and as our distinguished guests. You're always welcome here. As a last word, I would like to say that I always look at tourism in a sentimental way, which is we're beings who like to interact with each other. And tourism, in a way, the only sector in that sense, and at a larger scale, provides that. And what that leads is up to people getting to know each other. And once you get to know each other, guess what? You become friends. And that brings peace. And that's exactly what we need, especially nowadays. So thank you again.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. We have a soft power.
Teşekkür ederiz. Sağ olun.